This is another Patreon request that's been that I've been meaning to get to, and that is a good old-fashioned Marvel DC crossover from another Patreon supporter, Lamanta Benson, who sent me this Marvel DC crossover featuring, as you can see, Hercules, the Marvel version of Hercules meeting Wonder Woman. So yeah, we've got a Hercules Wonder Woman. Almost said Hercules Mulligan. I think that's the first time I've ever referenced Hamilton in my any of my videos. So yes, he asked me. Lamanta asked me to do a Wonder Woman Hercules crossover, and as always, if you would like a Patreon request, just hit the link below to my Patreon. Join there. You can also get exclusive content up there as well. And you can also send me, if you get the 4th tier, you can shoot me a personal message asking for a request video to do on here. So yeah, let's get into it. So Lamanta did send me a story, but I decided to kind of tweak it a bit, just a little bit, and kind of make a flow a little easier. So figured it'd work a little bit better in here. So in this story, basically what it is that in this story, tongue-tied. What happens is that the DC Ares has more or less like he's reaching out through the multiverse because he's basically like, if there's one pantheon of Greek gods and I've seen enough of the multiverse to go, okay, maybe there's more. Because you'd think after a god living in the so many multiversal crises, you'd think they'd basically be like, yeah, maybe we should give this a shot. Maybe we should, maybe there are other versions of my pantheon out there that don't know all the horrible shit I did. So Ares reaches out into the multiverse, like he goes on a little bit of a walkabout through the multiverse, and stumbles across the Marvel pantheon, the Marvel universe. And he does have vague recollection of the Marvel universe, referencing Justice League Avengers, as well as the Marvel versus DC comics. He has a vague recollection of did we? I feel like we've done this before. I really do feel like. Have we done this before? I feel like we've done this before. We have got to have done this before. And essentially is that Ares' plan, because he finds out in the Marvel universe that the Marvel Ares is dead. That version of Ares is gone after being killed by the Sentry. And what has happened is that Ares is like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. So Ares arrives in the Marvel universe version of Olympus. He approaches them and is like, hello, I am Ares from another universe, and I wish to, I see that you have lost, Lord Zeus, you have lost your son. I have lost my father. Maybe we can, maybe I can join your merry pantheon of gods and goddesses. And also who's up there, up in Olympus that day, is Hercules, who was already talking to his father, and he's like, yeah, my brother and I didn't get along, but Father, I don't trust this version of Ares. The Ares I know, he and I did not get along, but we understood each other, and Ares knew restraint. There's something malicious about this Ares. The Ares I knew fought with honor, fought with a version of some semblance of honor, even though he was clouded by rage. But this feels wrong. This feels really wrong. But Zeus is like, Zeus has spoken. Let this Ares, join our ranks. I, Zeus, decree that I take him as my, take Ares. This is a sign as my son has come home. And to which DC Ares is like, yes. So Ares is in there, but Hercules, of course, is still like, I don't trust this motherfucker. So Hercules, with the help of Doctor Strange, he goes to Doctor Strange and he goes, friend Steven, I require your aid. This new Ares, I need to know where he came from. So Steven uses a spell to search the multiverse to where that Ares came from, and Hercules goes through to investigate, the pantheon of the DC universe. which unfortunately means he accidentally wound up in Themyscira. Like, the spell brought him to the Greek pantheon, all right, brought him directly to Themyscira. And yeah, the Amazons know Hercules. For those who don't know, a little bit of DC history, the DC universe does have a Hercules. He is an ungodly asshole. They actually delve into the whole thing of him raping Hippolyta, as well as trying to force himself on Diana as well. So the name Hercules does not really sit well with the Amazons. So when they see it's Hercules, they're like, fuck this guy, and Hercules is like, oh shit, because he's like, oh, these are Amazons. Uh oh. So yeah, Ares and meanwhile, back in the Marvel universe, Ares is really like putting the moves on all the other gods. Like, he's kind of talking about, oh yes, you know, I come from a world where my gods were all wiped out in a horrific cataclysm by a deadly warrior named Diana, who slew all the other gods. And they're like, what a coinky dink! We know a god slayer too, and we but thankfully our Norse brothers, a brother from the Northlands, of course referencing Thor, laid him low and all that. But Ares is already like kind of putting the moves of like ready to take the seat of because if he can't have the throne of Olympus in the DC universe, he's planning on getting the Marvel universe throne, and that way he can be far away from fucking Diana. He can be far away from anyone in the DC universe and have like his own little kingdom. So back in the DC universe, Diana is summoned to come back home, and essentially she is called back home and be like, we've captured Hercules. He wants to speak to you. So Diana comes in and is like, are we sure this is the right Hercules? I know Hercules, like, and you guys know Hercules too. This guy doesn't look like Hercules. And Herc is like, I know this is going to sound weird, but I come from another universe. You may know a Hercules, but I'm not that Hercules. And Diana immediately goes, God damn it, fucking multiverse, let him go. Oh my god. We're dealing with the multiversal stuff, so tell me what's going. So Diana basically asks Hercules to tell him what's going on. So he tells her that, look, the Ares of your universe is snuck into my universe. I need your help. I need to get him out of here. And my father, even though he won't say it out loud, my father is basically like, the Ares of my universe is dead. He was killed by a guy called the Sentry. And now it's gotten bad. Like he is basically, like, my father is so wrapped up in his own grief, even though he won't admit it, that he doesn't see that this is not his son. So Wonder Woman's like, Ares, got it. Trust me, I know that dude from the get-go. So Diana and Hercules go back to the Marvel universe, where they encounter that what has basically happened, what has basically occurred is that Ares has taken over Olympus. Like, he's usurped Zeus, and essentially he's taken over Olympus, and now plans to unleash war on the other gods, because he's like, I want this is mine, I'm not sharing with the other gods. We did that in the other universe, I don't want that here. So Ares is basically going to unleash a War of the Gods, so to speak. Only totally less confusing than the actual War of the Gods event. So Hercules and... but then he knows... then he sees Hercules with Wonder Woman, and he's like, oh, fuck no. So he basically casts them both into the labyrinth and just fills it with all these different monsters and... all these different creatures from both the Marvel universe and the DC universe, of filling it with Wonder Woman villains and monsters that Hercules has conquered in his 12 labors. So they now have to fight their way out of a labyrinth made by this version of Ares to climb Mount Olympus to keep him, because the other thing Ares wants to do is unleash the Marvel Universe version of the Titans, especially Typhon, and unleash them onto the world and bring about the biggest war this universe has ever seen. So Diana and Hercules have to fight their way through just insurmountable odds until they manage to get to Ares, and it's at that point, like, when the two are fighting Ares, Zeus is freed, and Zeus casts Ares out of the Marvel Universe and back into his universe, and is basically like, he tells Diana, keep your trash out of my universe. So, yeah, that you know, and by the end of it, Diana, like, Hercules is like, friend Diana, come, let us consummate our conquest. And Diana goes, if you ever say that again to me, I will literally come back from my universe to castrate you. And he's like, fair enough, I will find other maidens to lay with. Fare thee well, Diana. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is pretty much there is this crossover for Hercules, for the Marvel Universe, Hercules, and the DC Diana. Hope you all enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun to come up with. Like I said, I did edit the story just a little bit, but I was like, it kind of worked a little better for me. But anyway, like I said, if you would like to have a Patreon request done by me, then please shoot me a text. Hit me on the link for Patreon. Join me on Patreon. There, don't text. And then send me a message after you hit the 4th tier, and you can get all the other exclusive content there on Patreon. And you can send me a personal message, and I'll do the video here on YouTube. So, other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.